الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وعلى محمد الأئمة والمهديين وسلم تسليما. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. My dear brothers Ali Muhammad and Taimur.
Wa alaikum
Walaikum
assalam
assalam
wa
wa
rahmatullahi wa
barakatuh.
barakatuh.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much
for
for being
having
here.
us.
So over this last year, the da'wah has gained a lot of interest from the outside, from reporters, journalists. We've gotten a lot of emails asking to come visit, to kind of peek into our world, how we live, what we're doing here, kind of the system and the mechanics of the community. So we were hoping today that we could talk about that a little bit and you could give the world some insight into what's really going on here.
Yeah, sure. I would love to talk about it. And it's not really something which is that mysterious, at least in my opinion. It's not a mystery. It's something that makes sense completely. And yes, you are right. And even just a few days ago, we've had another famous UK television station, media company, that wanted to come out here and film for several days in our community. They described it as being like flies on the wall, just filming us. To see what it is that we do, how we live. And obviously we're not going to do that. That's not possible because that's a little bit invasive. And we need to have some sort of control over the way that they're going to present us to the world, because we believe that we've been entrusted with a very important mission, something that's sacred from God. And it's not something that we're willing to kind of sell for cheap. We're not interested in people making documentaries about us unless they're going to present us in a correct way, not in the way that like we're some sort of Jim Jones, David Koresh, weird cult that's out there. We are a religion, and we believe ourselves to be the true religion, actually.
Yes.
And the thing that makes us believe that we are the true religion, and the thing that differentiates us actually from all the other religions, is what we believe to be something that is core, something that is fundamental, something that's at the foundation of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, but it's something that they forgot, like the narrations state. The Mahdi guides the people to a matter that has been lost.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So we believe that they kind of forgot about that, or they went astray from this. That concept is the notion of there being a living imam, a living guide in every day and age. So we believe that God is consistent, God is just, God has to be fair in his judgment and in his treatment of all people. God has to grant people equal opportunity, and he cannot be fair and just if he grants a particular group of people the opportunity to be born with Muhammad, Jesus, Moses, meet with them, interact with them, support them, live with them, witness their miracles, and then either believe and disbelieve with them. And then basically we have to believe in just the written stories, the stories that thousands of years have passed, and they may or may not be true, may or may not be corrupted. And there's conflicting accounts of the various narrations that are in these books. So it's like a group of people that get to the highest levels of paradise and be the companions and the disciples and the apostles, right? And as successors, and another group of people, they just have to believe in paper, essentially. And that's not fair, right?
No.
And we believe that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ agreed with us, actually. And that's why he said, whoever dies and doesn't know the Imam of his time has died the death of ignorance. And in this, it's signaling the idea that, or the notion that there is a Muhammad, there is a Jesus, there is a Moses for every day and age, for every people. That every people that live, no matter when you're born, right, or what country you have been born into, that there will be a living proof, a living representative on earth at that time. The voice of God never dies. People die, right? Jesus died, Moses died, Muhammad dies, Simon Peter dies, Imam Ali dies, but God never dies. The Spirit of God that he blew into Adam continues to abide on the earth until the end of time, taking on various faces, various veils, various avatars, right? Different successors. And so this concept of there being successorship is established. This is something that Sunnis forgot about. Right? They thought that, like, khalas, after the Prophet Muhammad dies, that's it. We just hold on to the commandments and that's the end of the story, even though they have the narration that says that it's an obligation to find the Imam of the time. So hence they went astray from that matter. The Shia also went astray when they just kind of started following the scholars and taking them as guides, right? Instead of the Imam that's available, that's infallible, that's present in every day and age. Instead of holding on to the will of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they held on to their own opinions and the opinions of the scholars, and so they themselves became Sunnis, right? Yes. The Protestant Christians, they abandoned the whole concept of Christianity, right? Which is that there's a living Pope in every day and age and a living representative of Jesus Christ, and that Jesus Christ continues to send messengers, right?
Right, the keys,
right? And he appointed Simon Peter, and he gave him the keys to the heavens and the earth, and that his spirit was placed upon the apostles, and the apostles were hujjas. They were proofs upon the people. They were representatives of Christ. They were not just normal Christians, right? Because obviously they could do and perform great miracles, and they had great wisdom, and they spoke in tongues, and they did things that the average person could not do. And the same thing is present in Judaism. It's the foundation of Judaism, and God becomes very offended, and we've mentioned this on several occasions, when the Israelites even attempt to take a different guide or a different ruler other than the one that God appointed. And this is clear in Hosea. It's clear also in the story of Saul and Samuel, and the request of the Israelites to have a king like the rest of the nations. God was very, very angry about that, and he threatens the Israelites on multiple occasions that if they continue to do this and follow other than his voice, other than his guide, other than his representative, that he's actually going to replace them with another people, and make them jealous of this new people, and make them angry because they would have been replaced, and they go into the trash can of history. So we believe that Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, mainstream Judaism, mainstream Christianity, and mainstream Islam, the large majority of the followers of these faiths, that they're following books, they're following texts, they're following a mixture of truth and falsehood, of scholars, opinions, of corruptions, of tahrif, of all kinds of things, and that the true essence of religion is only preserved by the presence of the divinely appointed, infallible guide of every day and age that has within them the Holy Spirit, right? And so that's necessary. And that's why our slogan is, we are from God, and we only take from the proof of God.
Yes.
Okay? All right. So that's what differentiates us. And then when we look at our religion now and our belief that there is a divinely appointed Imam of every day and age, it becomes a thing of mankind being broken into different groups. There's a group, obviously, that automatically disbelieves in the messenger. There's a group that doesn't even hear about the messenger. And there's a group that believes in the messenger. Okay, so for us and for members of our faith that fall into the category of belief, obviously, hence they're members of the faith, that group is further divided into different tiers or different categories, right? There's a category of believers that are super ultra committed, and that they believe that the presence of the living Imam comes with certain obligations, and the obligation is that they go and travel and see that Imam and then that they have to support that imam in whatever mission he is in. They have to protect the imam. They have to be with the imam, accompany the imam, learn from the imam, make their mark in history, and help the imam of their time's mission be successful. Right? And that's not, I think, a foreign notion for those reporters that are asking, or for anybody actually that's on the planet, because if a person would just merely ask themselves, if you were living in the time of Moses or Jesus or Muhammad, where would you want to be? You ask any of these followers, and they'll automatically tell you that the one thing, the one wish that they would have is to be right there by Muhammad, to see Muhammad. The Muslims would say, I just want to touch Muhammad. I want to embrace Muhammad. I want to support Muhammad. I want to make jihad under the banner of Muhammad. I want to, help Muhammad make da'wah and convert, and help establish the seeds of the religion of Islam that's going to end up basically being a religion followed by billions of people 1,400 years later. Same thing with the followers of Christ. They would say, of course, we would want to be by Jesus' side. We want to carry our cross too. Of course, Jesus said in the Bible, he himself told us over and over again. He told the people that they should leave the dead, bury the dead. He encouraged people to abandon the worldly life and to accompany him, right? So Jesus made it abundantly clear that the role or the mission of the believer is to basically abandon all worldly life and to come be with the divinely appointed imam of every day and age. But not everybody can do that, right? Mm-hmm. And therefore there's another tier or another category of believers, and that's the believers that want to support from afar. They don't want, their commitment ability is limited, right? Just like the rich man that came to Jesus and said, look, I want to follow you. Jesus said, you have to basically sell everything and pass it out to the poor. No, he couldn't do it. He said, I'm not capable of doing it. And Jesus said, okay, well, then you can't accompany me, right? And so he remained a believer, but from afar. And Jesus continued to, go forth with those other believers. He didn't kick him out of the faith. He didn't expel him. He didn't tell him, okay, you're a disbeliever now. And so the same thing is true in every day and age. There are believers that are more committed, believers that are less committed. And they're less committed or more committed by choice. It's their freedom of religion, their freedom to practice their religion by choosing what category of believer they want to be. Okay? So the same thing's going on here. We have people that believe in me. We have people that believe in Ahmed al-Hassan, people that believe in the will of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they truly feel it's their divine obligation to be with me, to come and live with me and be with me and learn from me and support me and ensure that this mission is successful. Mm-hmm. Right? They want to make their mark in history. They want to help expand this dawah, this community, this religion. Right? And there's other people that they love me so much, but they're, for whatever reason, their health, their comfort, their faith, whatever it is the reason they don't want to come out. And that's fine. They're totally allowed to be members of this faith and support from abroad, to support from far away. They're happy with being at a second tier, and we're happy with them being at a second tier. And God will use many of those individuals to spread the faith to many other people in their surroundings, in their countries, in their towns, in their villages, in the locations where they're at. Okay. And we value all of those individuals. And our goal is not to make the whole world a part of our community, right? But to make a community out of the whole world, a community of believers. We want to make the world a better place. We want to spread the faith to all people.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. And we're not expecting, obviously, all people to come and join us.
Yeah, it makes sense. With the concept of free will, everybody can choose how close they want to be and how far they want to be. And like you said, God will use everybody accordingly to as much as they're willing to give.
Exactly. So those people that have came and joined me, they didn't come because they were recruited. And they didn't come because they were coerced. They came because they just showed up at the doorstep. And God's doors are open for all people. I will not turn away people. I will not turn away people and shut the doors of God in their faces. If somebody comes and they're a believer and they choose that they're going to live our lifestyle and they want to share with me in my food and in my drink, and they want to share with us in our shelter, if they come to me and say to me, Abu Sadiq, I want to be a member of your family, a member of your household, a member of your tribe,
Yes.
I will welcome him. I will welcome her. I will take care of them, but I expect that they also do their part and take care of their brothers and their sisters. If they expect their brothers and sisters to share with them in all that they own, then they also have to share in all that they own. It's a two-way street. It just makes sense. There are people that are totally committed and they've invested everything in this call, and that's up to them. If they want to live in the footsteps and the sunnah of the disciples of Christ and sell everything and give everything to this cult, that is their free will to do so. I
Exactly.
did it before them.
Yes.
Okay? And they have a right to do it. And people do it all the time. They give donations and they buy their pastors and their priests and their non-working scholars. They fund their lavish lifestyles and they fund their private jets and they do all these things. We're not doing that. We're living together at a very bare minimum
Yes.
level, right?
And I think you brought up a really excellent point that maybe people don't realize, is that you did it first, and you were the first one to, because you believed in Ahmed Hassan. Nobody asked you to do it, but you believe that this is what anybody would do. And I think Ali Muhammad and myself and everybody in the room right now also believe the same, that this is a cause worthy of everything, and to not put everything in it would be selfish, it would be shortcoming. And as you said, and maybe people don't know, I mean,
if they want to come and join us. If they don't want to come and join us, then they're free to not put everything in there. And there are a lot of people around the world. We are not a small movement. We have thousands and thousands of believers all over the world. And we have a lot more that are all over the world than we have here living with me.
Yes,
That's
that's true.
And yes, since the beginning, since I've known you for now 14 to 15 years, you've been doing this, and the people have been gathering in the different countries that you've been in for that reason, because they recognized that we have to join together, we have to band together, and we believed in the Imam, we believed in the teachings, and this is what we're here for. We're here to give success to the truth, because we cannot find it anywhere else in the world.
Exactly. Well, there's just some people, though, they might think to themselves, okay, but why? What are you guys gathering to do? Why is it that you are gathering in the first place? Okay. All right. We get the idea that, like, okay, you want to support the Imam of your time, but how is it that you are supporting the Imam of the time by giving up your worldly possessions and coming and living with the Imam of the time? For those who do, and it's quite simple, actually. It's also like a very easy to understand notion and concept. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So the people that choose to become monks, what is it that they're doing? They give up their worldly possessions and they go and they live underneath a master. Okay. And they learn to meditate, and he teaches them the scripture, right? And they draw closer to the truth, to the reality. Why is it that particular nuns, women, and men choose to live a chaste lifestyle? They choose to dedicate themselves to the faith. They choose to abstain from sexual intercourse, right? God-given sexual intercourse. They choose not to do it. They choose to never enjoy marriage, to never enjoy the feeling of being a father or a mother. right? They choose to fight that for the entire life. Why is it that they choose to do that and submit themselves and their free will to the Pope, right, or to the bishop that can assign them to go to any church that he wants to assign them to anywhere around the world, right? Why do the Jehovah's Witnesses spend several years of their life like traveling all around door to door in various countries doing missionary works, right? Because they want to propagate the faith and they want to reach the reality and truth, and because they want to make the world a better place. They want to practice their religion. The same thing is going on here. The same thing is going on here. We believe that there are forms of worship that are basic and there are higher forms of worship. Okay, and we believe that this is very clear in the traditions of Muhammad and the family of Muhammad, alayhi salam, but it's also very clear within the words of the prophets and the messengers. Okay, lower level acts of worship are what? Are prayer, the salat, zakat, siyam, fasting, hajj. These are lower level acts of worship. Meditation. Okay. Why? Because these acts of worship, for the most part, they only benefit the individual. That's it. Okay. But Muhammad and the family of Muhammad, alayhi salam, said that the ultimate act of worship, the highest act of worship, where there's no higher act of worship than it, okay, is al-sa'i, to seek to fulfill the needs of your believing brothers and sisters. Your believing brothers and sisters, and also your brothers and sisters in humanity that are not necessarily believers, okay? And we believe that that is what we must do in order to establish a divine just state, a state of the world in which there is peace and prosperity for all mankind. If we want to transform the world, we have to start with our own selves. And how do we start with our own selves? Through the ultimate act of worship, which is an act actually that's not about God, because he doesn't need our worship, right? So much. So it's not about God. It's not about us. It's about the opposite of us. It's about the other first, right? It's the opposite of what the Antichrist and his followers are teaching, of putting the individual first, right? It's about prioritizing the needs of others, and that's what we do on a daily basis. On a daily basis, the believer that is present with me here in the community, he wakes up and worshiping God, and he goes to sleep worshiping God. And all his whole day in between consists of trying to serve his fellow brothers and sisters, right? His neighbors. And there's a side effect to that too. So as that individual is focusing and dedicating his entire life to serve everybody else, because he exists in a community of believers that are like-minded, they end up serving him too. Right. Okay. And so his needs are fulfilled. He don't have to worry about any needs because everybody else is trying to serve him, and them serving him allows him or her to serve everybody else. And so it becomes this ball, it's this snowball effect that the more that it gets pushed, right, and the more people that join and the more people that serve, the more that they are getting served, and the more that they are capable of serving even more people and granting for everybody else that which they enjoy, right? There's this African secret to happiness, all right? It was a parable. It's like a hadith, an African concept or notion that they have. That true happiness cannot be attained unless it's shared. Now, happiness is found in the happiness of others, and that is precisely the teachings of the prophets and the messengers. And that's precisely why the highest act of worship is serving, seeking out the needs of others and looking to fulfill it. And by the way, this is the core of what is present in the narrations of Muhammad and the family of Muhammad that define actually the mission of the Mahdi. And that's why the culmination, the end point of the mission of the Mahdi, when he has a transformed world, a divine just state, what are one of the signs of that? Is that people put their hands into each other's pockets without even asking. And another sign is that nobody can find a person who is in need. Everybody is seeking to fulfill somebody's needs, but because everybody now has sought to fulfill everybody's needs, it becomes a rarity. There are no more poor people. There's no more needy people. Everybody's being taken care of. And is that not the ultimate goal of humanity?
Yes,
Is that not a beautiful religion? Is that not a beautiful notion and mission that we have? We're not seeking to transform the world through violence. It can never be transformed through violence, and only violence will be begotten by violence.
Yes.
But we believe that seeking to fulfill the needs of others, sharing, caring, serving others will also beget that. It will beget service. It will beget love. It will beget caring. And that is why it is necessary for the believers to support and live around the Imam of the time, because that is what Jesus did in his time, and Muhammad did in his time, and the apostles did in their time, and the Imams did in their time, and Moses did in his time, and the prophets did in their times, and the company of the prophets. If you look in the Bible, you have this kind of phrase that appears, the company of the prophets, that referred to a group of people that did that in every day and age. They would always dedicate themselves to living around the prophet of their time, accompanying Elijah, accompanying Elisha, accompanying Hosea, accompanying whoever it is that was the prophet, and they did that on a small scale, right? The Mahdi is supposed to do it on a large scale. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to say, look, if you're a Christian, if you're a Jew, if you're a Muslim, okay? If you are a Buddhist, if you are a Hindu, if you are so fussed up and worried about whether or not you're following the correct messenger or the correct religion, all of that is nonsense. All of that doesn't matter, actually, because these people are not the people that are your test in your time. You don't need to worry about those people.
Right.
What you need to worry about is, where is divine goodness? Where is righteousness in your day and age? Okay? And we believe that it is found only in this call, and that it manifests itself in the successors of the will. And that is what we are trying to do. That in itself is an evidence. The goodness, the purity of this movement and what it seeks to achieve, that in itself is enough proof for anybody, even the atheist, to want to join and be a part of this movement.
And one would argue what it has already achieved. I mean, on the scale that we're operating at, we have already achieved a just society. And like you said, I mean, one of the biggest frustrations is that every time you try and give something, you end up getting more than you gave. And no matter what you came with, even if you came with $1 million, like, you will get 10 times that much. And we just want to give something and not get anything back.
Yeah, so that's our community. Our community is a group of people that came together, and that God's hand has been with them throughout the entire time. We are a people that have with us the stone of Moses. And that's one of the relics that the narrations of Muhammad and the family of Muhammad mention, that the Mahdi would have with him, or the Qaim will have with him, right? The stone of Moses. What was the stone of Moses? It was the stone of Moses that when they were thirsty in the middle of the desert, he would just hit it and it would spring forth all of this goodness, this bounty, these rivers, right? This water, so that every tribe could drink from, right? There was an abundance of sustenance. And that's what we have here. We have an abundance of sustenance because God has his hand over a people. There's a hadith that says that God is forever in help of the servant so long as he is seeking to help his fellow believers, right? Or his brothers or his sisters, right?
Yeah.
And so we have here been living for years with God sustaining and supporting our community because we are supporting one another and our doors are open for all. We have had people come to us that have been mentally ill. We've had people that have come to us that have been filthy rich. We've had people that have come to us that have been extremely poor. We've had the homeless come. We've had the educated come. We have doctors in our community. We have scientists in our community. We have dentists in our community. We have cardiologists in our community. We had Egyptologists in our community. We had people from all walks of life, very educated people, journalists even in our community. Yeah, we have journalists. They better watch out. And we have human rights activists in our community. And we've had people that are totally uneducated, don't even have GED, right? Didn't even graduate from high school. We had people that were former convicts, but the doors were open for all. And these people were able to transform themselves and to become the best versions of themselves. That's not by me evaluating them. That's by their own self-evaluation. They say, "Oh, Sadek, wow. How can I thank you? How can I thank my brothers and sisters in this community? I used to be something, but now I'm something else." You know, and so the community, its doors are open for all mankind, all people. Okay, the only conditions to it is that one, they have to obviously recognize and accept the authority of the head of the community, or else anytime there's a dispute, it will never be resolved. So they have to accept the fact that this community is headed by this imam, and this imam is the divinely appointed messenger of the time. They have to have faith at least in that concept. And then the second thing is that they have to be willing to live like everybody else. They can't have their private money and their private possessions. Like, you can't have somebody who is claiming to be working on the same mission as you, and they're living in a multi-million-dollar mansion, okay, and at the same time they're claiming to be a member of your community, right? And they want to reap the benefits of the community, and they want community members to go mow their lawns and to take care of them and to do various works for them, but they're also not willing to share their property with anybody else. That's not going to work.
No.
Okay, so it's very simple. It's very beautiful. It's a very good thing. It's our human right to do and to practice.
Yes.
And it is a concept and a notion that will change and transform the world. And it's a sign for all those who have eyes to see, a sign about the truthfulness of this call and the power that rests in faith and sharing and caring and the principle of humanity first.
Yeah, I think that just the fact that this community has continued to grow and thrive for the last 15 years is a testament to what we're doing here. It's a testament to your leadership and the justice. And this is the core of our faith, is that without a divinely appointed leader, there can be no justice like we have here. There has to be somebody who's infallible, who is above desire, who is above these lower human darknesses, who's able to ensure that there's fairness, ensure that there's justice, ensure that the resources are allocated in the correct way. And I think that this is something that's missing from the leadership of the world in general, from the world leaders. I mean, whether they have good intentions or not, they do not have the skill to create justice in their own community. So this is the community of the future. And I think that this model and this prototype will be the right way to do things and going forward. And I think the whole world will slowly clock onto that, or quickly clock onto that. And this dawah will grow very rapidly in the coming years, inshallah.
Inshallah. Well, God bless you guys, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.